Hey guys, I hope that I'm live right now. If you guys are able to listen to me properly, please let me know. Guys, if you are able to listen to me properly, please do let me know. Just send a message on all the WhatsApp groups once again. Okay. Okay, I'm so sorry for the delay in the class, guys. I was already taking up one more class at a point of time. That is the reason why it got delayed a bit. Okay. I hope that you will be able to understand and pardon me for being late. Okay, I'll try to make sure that the next time I'm not late for you guys. Okay. Great. So let's start off with our today's class. We won't be wasting any more time. Okay. So let me just open up the data types and operators. We will be starting from right over there. Let's reconnect to the Google server right over here. I'm just opening up the live chat on my mobile phone up till that particular point of time. Give me a second. Okay, so I've opened up the live chat as well. I am really tired. Okay, so yesterday we had completed up till here. I don't think so. Okay, so we were at multiple variable assignment operator. Okay, so that is what we are going to do it right now. Okay, so multiple variable assignment operator. So up till now, when we were working with different type of variables and we were assigning values to different variables, for example, rent is equals to 100. So maybe at some particular point of time, we need to assign multiple like values to multiple variables at the end of the day. For example, we are having height is equals to 3, length is equals to 6, width is equals to 2. So we are having various different variables and we are assigning values to the same as well. Now these are like we are occupying three different lines of code. Okay, we are occupying three different lines of code. We want to make it as simple as possible. We want to make it as simple as possible to be able to assign three different values to three different variables. Okay, that is where the multiple assignment operator comes into being. So height is equals to 3, length is equals to 6, width is equals to 2. So volume would be height into length into width. That is 3 into 6 into 2. That is 36. So if you are running this particular line of code, you are easily able to see that we are getting our answer as 36 right over here. We are able to get 36 right over here. Okay, so now Python has a very useful way to assign multiple variables together in a single line of code itself. Okay, as a very simple way to assign multiple variables in a single code line of code. Love coffee. Okay, so we are having height, length and width right over here, and we need to assign 3, 6 and 2 to them. Okay, so what we are having is these are the variable names. Okay, height, length and width, these are the variable names. Okay, and you are assigning 3, 6 and 2 to them. This is called as your multiple assignment operator. Okay guys, this is called as your multiple assignment operator. So 3 is getting assigned to height, 6 is getting assigned to length and 2 is getting assigned to width. Okay, as you're able to see, are you guys able to understand? Please let me know. Guys, again, I'm very sorry that I was late today. I'll make sure that from tomorrow I'm on time. Right now, like each of my boot camps are almost 1.5 hours long, and sometimes it even extends a bit more than that. Because my aim is to impart as much knowledge as possible to you guys. I will try my 100% best to deliver 100% or even 200% from my end. Okay, but please pardon me if somebody got hurt due to that. Okay. Okay, so now this particular thing, that is multiple assignment operator, will come back later on as well. We will be coming back to this at a later point of time. This is basically called as tuples. This is a data structure in Python called as tuples, and we'll be coming back to that. But you don't need to know it right now. When we'll be coming to tuples, we'll be discussing about it. So don't worry about it right now. Just think about it. You want to assign multiple variables at the same point of time. So use multiple variable assignment operator. Okay, great. Now, when you're creating variables, okay, when you're naming variables, there's some rules and regulations that you need to follow, and some conventions as well that you need to follow while naming a variable. These rules and regulations are made in such a way that if you're not following these rules while naming a variable, then it will lead to an error at the end of it. Okay, it will lead to an error at the end of it. Okay. Oh my god, my. Hmm. Okay, so now these rules that you are able to see, let's discuss upon that. Okay, the first rule is you need to start the variable name with an alphabet or an underscore. The first letter of your variable name, the first letter of a variable name should be an alphabet. It can be capital A to capital Z, it can be small a to small z, or an underscore. Okay, nothing else, nothing else. The first letter. Okay, the second thing is the rest of the entire variable name. The first letter can be small a to small z, capital A to capital Z, or an underscore. The rest of the variable name, except the first letter, the rest of the variable name can contain capital A to Z, small a to z, numbers, that is 0 to 9, as well as underscores. It cannot contain special characters. It cannot contain anything else. Okay, it cannot start. The first letter cannot be a variable, cannot be a number. It cannot be 007 James Bond. It can be James Bond 007. It can contain a number, but it cannot start with a number. It can be underscore Shaurya, but it cannot be at rate Shaurya or Shaurya at a rate or Shaur at a rate area or something like that. It cannot contain special characters. You cannot use special characters as a variable name. Okay, you cannot start with a number. Oh shit, you cannot contain special characters. You can. Okay, so are you guys able to understand? Please let me know. These are rules. Okay, these are the 6 rules. The last rule is you cannot use a special character, a reserved keyword in Python. Reserved keywords are special words in Python that have some special meaning associated with them. For example, print. You cannot use print as a variable name. You cannot use for as a variable name. Def, del, is, else, try, form. You cannot use these as a variable names because these are special meaning in Python. Now you would be like, sir, I don't know which characters are special in Python. For example, if you write for right over here, it will automatically, it's a keyword in Python, so it is automatically highlighted for you. If you write del in Python, it's already highlighted for you. If you write print in Python, okay, you know that that's a keyword. You have used it at the end of the day, so it's a keyword in Python. You cannot use keywords in Python as your variable name. You will get an error. Okay, and with time, when you are starting to code in Python, with time you will be able to know about the rest of the keywords as well. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, so these are allowed variable names. X is equals to 2, y, my Python, my underscore Python, underscore my underscore Python, underscore my Python in all caps, my Python 7. These are all allowed variable names. These will not give you an error at the end of the day. Okay, now these are variable names that will give you an error. Okay, these variable names will give you an error. You cannot start a variable name with a number. Okay, you cannot start the variable name with a number. You cannot have a hyphen anywhere within the variable name. You cannot have an hyphen anywhere within the variable name. You cannot contain at a rate within the variable name. You cannot have a space between a variable name. You cannot have a particular reserved keyword as a variable name itself. So all this will give you a syntax error. Okay, it will give you a syntax error, invalid syntax. Now what is an invalid syntax? Just like in English, you are having grammar. Okay, just in English, you are having grammar. Similarly, in programming, you have some rules and regulations. The grammar for programming is called as syntax. If you're not following that grammar, if you're not following that syntax, you will get an invalid syntax or a syntax error. Okay, are you guys able to understand this? Please let me know. The guy is able to understand this, please let me know. Again, question mark is a special character. You cannot contain a special character. The only special character that is allowed is an underscore character itself and nothing else. Are you guys able to understand? Please let me know, guys. Amazing. You guys are so smart. Please try to keep this smartness to the utmost level while attending the boot camp. Okay? Okay, great. So now, see, try to understand there are two different things. One is a rule, okay, that is a law. If you're breaking the law, I will government will beat the shit out of you. And then there's the second thing that is called as a convention, okay, that is basically like just saying that, okay, it's not a rule. If you're breaking it, you won't go to jail, okay, the police won't beat the shit out of you, but still, okay, but still you should follow these guidelines, okay. These are like guidelines, these are some conventions that you need to follow. Are you able to understand between the same, okay, rules and some conventions? Conventions won't land you in jail. If you're not following conventions, it won't be that you are ending up in jail. But yes, people will be talking about you that, do you know that particular person is not a good person, okay, but you're not going to jail at any point of time. Similarly, if you're breaking a rule, if you're murdering somebody, then of course, like, people will talk bad about you and you will be ending up in jail. But are you able to understand the difference between a convention and a rule? So above this, whatever we study, these 6 rules, if you're not following that, you will end up in jail. You will get an error in your code. There are some conventions as well that the people, that the Python as a community, the community of developers that code in Python have created. And if you're not following these conventions, then the Python community will talk behind your back that he's not a good developer, he's a noob developer, he's not a pro developer, he does not know the conventions that need to be followed while writing the code in Python. You will not get an error if you're not following these conventions. The code will work totally fine, but people will talk behind your back that he's a shitty developer. So that's the basic thing, okay. So right over here, the 2 conventions that you need to follow. First, keep the name of the variable. Now, I'm not saying keep the name, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. That is something that Will Smith is saying. But right now, what I'm trying to say is keep the name of the variables short but descriptive. It should be descriptive. It should, like, reading the name of the variable, I should be able to identify. I should be able to identify what value this particular variable might contain. But it shouldn't be like you're writing an entire paragraph as the variable name. Okay, for example, while taking the input of the height of a tree as an appropriate, okay, as an appropriate variable name, it should not be x. X is a very, x or h is very small as a variable name. You're taking a height of the tree as a variable name. You cannot take it as x or h. It's very short. I don't know what x or h is. I'm not able to understand what it contains. I cannot keep, so it's short, but it's not descriptive. X and h is short, but it's not descriptive enough. I'm not able to understand what it contains. I cannot keep the variable name as height underscore of underscore the underscore tree. It's descriptive. I'm able to understand what this is holding, but it's very long. It's not short. Okay, it's very long for a variable name. The apt variable name for this would be just height. Just height. I'm able to understand that whatever is being stored in this is the height of a particular object, and also it's short. It's not too long as well. So you need to keep the variable names short but descriptive. Now, of course, there is not a rule or a ruler that can put that, okay, if it's like 2 centimeters long, it's large. If it's 1 centimeter long, it's small. You have to think about it. You have to think about it creatively and carefully to think about which particular word that you should be using as a variable name. Don't be like Pappu, where you're going into rallies and just saying anything that is coming into your mouth. Think about the variable name that you're trying to put up. Okay. I love Amul Cool. I know that will make me fat, but I just love it. Okay, the next thing that you need to focus upon is the next convention. The Pythonic way to name a variable is to use all lowercase letters and underscores to separate the word. This is called as snake case. Okay, this type of writing is called as snake case. Okay, so right over here you are having, okay, so people who are Congress supporters are like, sir, control yourself, we follow Papu. Okay, so just take up this particular just take up this particular example. So whatever that you are having, the words need to be all in lowercase categories. Okay, it should all be in lower cases itself and should be separated by underscores. For example, if it was my height in underscore centimeters, so everything should be a bit in all lowercase characters and separated by underscores. And this is called as snake case. Okay, this is called as snake case. Again, if you're not following this, you'll not get an error. But this is a convention that you need to follow. Okay, this is a convention that you need to follow. Okay, so this is called as Pythonic way of writing variable names. Okay, Pythonic way of writing variable names. This is non-Pythonic way of variable names. So if you're running this, of course, this won't work. Okay, because my height will basically give you an error. So even if I'm removing this, okay, so this is not a Pythonic way of writing this. Again, if I'm running this, that is running properly. You are not getting any kind of error right over here. You're not getting any kind of error right over here. Okay, as you're able to see, there's no error. Okay, but this is not the Pythonic way of writing the variable names. Okay. Okay, so are you guys able to understand up till here? Please let me know. Are you guys able to understand up till here? Please let me know, guys. This is called as snake case. Okay, this is called as snake case. Great, amazing. So next we are going to move on to overwriting a variable. So for example, you are creating the first line of code, rent is equals to 1700. Okay, so creating a box, you are putting 1700 inside of it. The next line of code you are writing, rent is equals to 2000. We are taking out the 1700 from the box and putting 2000 inside of it. Okay, you're taking out 1700 from the box and putting up 2000 inside it. So where is that 1700 going? It is getting lost. You're not able to get access to that 1700 anymore. Now rent contains the value 2000 inside of it. Okay, so this is called as overwriting the variable. Okay, this is called as overwriting the variable. When a new value is assigned to a variable, the old one is forgotten. Okay, 1700 is forgotten. Okay, 1700 is forgotten. Now the only you have access to the new value, that is 2000. Okay, so that is called as overwriting the variable. Okay. So why are they non-Pythonic way? They are non-Pythonic because of the conventions. The conventions have been made by the Pythonic community. Okay, this is the Pythonic way of writing variable names. Similarly, in JavaScript, you will be writing the variable names as camel cased. In Python, it is snake cased. For every language, it's a different type of convention that you need to follow at the end of the day. Okay. Again, RD Vinesh, that's great that you have basic knowledge of Python. But like I said, all our boot camps, we assume one thing, nobody knows anything. The only thing that students know are English. And we'll start from the utmost basics, that everyone is on the same page. Okay. You can use camel case again, there's no issues in that. But then you are a very bad Python developer because you don't know what the convention is. Okay. Okay, so right over here you are having rent as 1700, then you are having rent as 2000. Now I'm increasing the rent by 700 rupees. So you're having rent is equals to rent plus 700 rupees. Now this will give me the answer as 2700. But again, Python has another toolkit in its kit. Okay, that basically helps you to, like, this is not the Pythonic way of adding something to a particular variable. If you want to do this, instead of writing this, now I don't know if I've told you guys about comments. Okay, so what are comments? Right over here, as you're able to see, this is a comment that I've put up. Anything that I'm able to put up a hash in front of it, that is called as a comment. Now comments are basically not run by the compiler. The compiler of Python will not run this particular comment. Okay, it will consider it as just a normal text. Okay, it will consider it as just a normal text. It will not run that particular line of code. Okay, so I can write rent plus is equals to 700. I will write it as rent plus is equals to 700 right over here. Okay, so as you're able to see, this line of code basically means rent is equals to rent plus 700. So if I'm running this particular line of code, I'm getting the same output, that is 2700. It's called as an increment operator. Okay, we are increment the value, the variable on the left hand side by the value on the right hand side. We are incrementing the variable on the left hand side by the value on the right hand side. So that is basically as if I'm writing rent is equals to rent plus 700. Okay, now you are having minus is equals to as well. Having minus is equals to as well. So that will be rent is equals to rent minus 700. You are having rent is equals to rent in multiplied by 700. So that will be multiplied equal to, you're having rent divided by is equals to 700. So that will be rent divided by 700. So as you're able to see, you can have anything right over here. Okay, are you guys able to understand up till here? Please let me know. Are you guys able to understand up till here? Please let me know, guys. Yes, this is the increment shorthand notation. Okay, there are like ways decrement shorthand notation, then the other notations are there. I don't know the exact name for that. Yes, this is all a shorthand notation, but they have different names as well. Okay, great. So let's move on to data types. Okay, so you are having a lot many number of type data that you have seen in Python up till now. So for example, you have seen numbers. Okay, you have seen 3, 2, 1, 15, 16, 100. You have seen pi, so that is 3.14, 4.56. You have seen strings, just like hello world. Okay, so you're having different kinds of data that exist in Python. Each of this data has its own functions, has its own uses, has its own methods that you can use over that. Okay, and hence every single data, each of these boxes that you're creating at any point of time stores different shapes of objects. Some of this data can be circular, some of them can be rectangular, some of them can be cuboidal in nature. So every data has a different type and a different use as well. So in Python as well, you are having different data types. They basically classify the data into various different categories. The first two categories that we are going to look at are integers and floats. Okay, are integers and floats. Okay, so far the numbers that we have dealt with are mostly whole numbers or integers like 4, 5, 10, 15, so on and so forth. Okay, but you might have noticed that some other numbers, that is decimal numbers, also exist, like 1.5 or 3.14, all these type of numbers as well. So for example, right over here we are having 3 and 2. So whenever you are having 3 and 2, 3 and 2 are both integers. When we are dividing it, you're getting a number that isn't quite an integer or a whole number. It's a decimal number. Numbers with a decimal point, such as 3.14, are called as floats or a floating point number. 3 and 2 are integers, okay, int or integers. But 3.14 or 1.5 or 4.56 are all floating point numbers or floats in short. Okay, these are basically decimal numbers. For example, you can have 42. So 42 is an integer. 42 is an integer, but 42.0 would be a decimal number. 42.0 would be a decimal number or a float. Okay, that's a float division. That's why it is giving you an int. You should be familiar with that. If you're writing it, then you should be familiar with that. Okay, so right over here you are having a is equals to 3, b is equals to 2.5. So we already know that a is an integer, b is a 2.5, that is a floating point number. So we can use this particular function, just like you are having print, you are having type, another function, another inbuilt function in Python itself that basically tells you the type the data type of the object that is currently there in the parenthesis. So right over here, we are currently checking the data type of A and B. So as you're able to see, we will get the data type as int and float. Okay, we're getting the data type as int and float. So A is int, that is integer, and B is float, that is floating point number. What is A? A is a variable. Okay, are you guys able to understand? Please let me know, guys. So Sanjay, is my voice for the better or for the worst? Guys, there are 1.5 thousand people. Sorry. Yeah, 1.5 thousand people right over here. Are you guys able to understand this? Integer and floats. Are you guys able to understand this? Please let me know. One suggestion for those ashiks around there. Okay, focus upon your career, man. When you have money in the bank, you get everything. Whether you are a girl or a boy. When you have the money in the bank, you don't have to care about anything. Get a good job. Focus upon that. You will get a good girl. You will get a good boy. Whatever gender you are, whatever gender that you are interested in. Okay, just get a good job first of all. Focus upon your career. Idiots. Okay, so okay, an operation involving an int and a float will always give a float as an output. Okay, so for example, if you are having a plus b, okay, when you're having a plus b, the answer would always be a float. A plus b, a into b, a divided by b, a multiplied by b, anything. If it is a float and a int that you're working with, your answer would always be a float. So let me just write it right over here. Float, anything, float would always be a float. Then you are having float, anything, float, sorry, int would always be a float. Int divided by int would always be a float. And int, anything with int, would always be an integer. Okay, so maybe even if I'm doing like 4 divided by 2, the answer would be 2.0, that is a float. Okay, 4 divided by 2 would always be a floating point number, that is 2.0. Okay, are you guys able to understand? Please let me know. Are you guys able to understand this? Please let me know, guys. Type is a basically inbuilt function that basically gives you the data type of the object. For example, type of A is integer, type of B is float. Okay, so for example, right over here, you can even convert an integer to a float. Saqib Ahmed, what are you not able to understand? Please let me know. By and I basically mean any operator. It can be plus, it can be minus, it can be division, it can be multiplication, anything that you want to do. If you are, see, this is like, guys, this is something that you have learned in like second standard, I guess. That you, when you are like multiplying two decimals together, you will get a decimal as the answer. If you're adding one decimal and an integer together, you will get a decimal as the answer. So, like, dude, like, come on, grow up. You're not a kid anymore that I have to explain this. Okay, again, I've just written this. You multiplication plus minus division, it basically covers for all that. Okay, any operator, addition, multiplication, division, subtraction between a float and a float will give you a float. Okay, between a float and an int will give you a float. Division between an int and an int will give you a float. And anything else, that is addition, subtraction, or multiplication between an int and an int will give you an int. Again, this is a concept from second standard. I don't want to repeat it. Okay, great. Now you can even convert an integer to a float and a float to an integer as well. Okay, you can convert an integer to a float and a float to an integer as well. Again, whatever I've typed right over here, this and was basically I don't want to write plus, minus, multiplication, division again and again. That's why I just wrote anything right over there. Okay. Hmm. People need a dose of IQ in India. Okay. So let's start from right over here. So you can convert one integer to you can convert an integer to a float and a float to an integer as well. Okay. So for doing that, you are having another inbuilt function. For example, 3. 3 is an integer. Okay. When you will be converting 3 to a float, the answer would be converting 3, that is an integer to a float, the answer would be 3.0. So any integer that you want to convert to a float, you're just appending 0.0 to it. Okay, any integer that you want to convert to a float, you want to put 0.0 at the end of it. Okay, similarly, if you want to convert an integer to a float, okay, it will just remove everything after the decimal point. It does not matter whether it is 28.9, 28.5, 28.1, everything will get converted to 28. Everything after the decimal point will be removed. Everything after the decimal point will be truncated. Okay, so it does not matter, it is not rounding it off, it's just cutting off the decimal point itself. Okay, so everything after the decimal point will be removed. Okay, so right over here, as you're able to see, integer. So if it's a float, you just have to put a parenthesis around it, write int in front of it. So it will be converting it to an integer. If you are having a 3 right over here, you want to convert it into a float, you just place float in front of it and will convert it into a floating point number. Okay, so if you are running this particular line of code right over here, you're able to see 3.0 and 28 as your answer. Okay, you're having 3.0 and 28 as your answer. So why I'm using hash? Again, I've already explained this like just 5 minutes ago. This is a comment. Okay, anything that you don't want to run, you just want to write just for like your own reference. Okay, it will not run this. It will not run this as a code. It will treat it as something that it is ignoring. Okay, it's called as a comment. It's just for you, for your own information. Okay, anything, even if it's like minus 28.9, it will still convert it into minus 28. It will just truncate from the decimal point itself. Okay, we बहुत तेज हो रहे हो. Okay, now one more thing. This particular whatever I'm going to tell you guys right now, this is a very famous interview question. If you are going for a Python based interview, there is almost 80% chance that the interviewer will ask this particular question to you. 80% chance. Okay, because very few people actually know this point. This is not covered in any course or something. You can only know if you are doing something practical, okay, or you have read it in a particular book. So for example, for me it was a book that I've read, that where I got to know about this particular point. Okay, but this is something that is very famous in interviews, and big companies always ask this particular question. So the thing is, what is a float? Okay, floating point numbers are an approximation to the number they represent. If I'm writing 3.14, it is not exactly 3.14. It's a bit greater than that. Floating point numbers are not exactly the number they represent. It's a bit greater than that. Okay, these are called as an approximation to the number they represent. Okay, because floats can represent a very large range of numbers. They can range from like 3.1456789101112, like almost 12 decimal places. 12 decimal places. So you can think out how large, how huge numbers can be saved inside floats. And floats need to maintain the precision of their numbers as well. For example, when you're dividing a float by another float itself, they need to maintain that precision. So they will be saving. So for example, if you want to save 0.23 in the memory, it will be saved as 0.23 0.00000123, something like that. It's a bit greater than 0.23. Are you guys able to are you guys able to imagine that? Okay, I'll give you the proof as well. But are you guys able to imagine that? Please let me know. Are you guys able to imagine that? Please let me know. When you are having 0.23, when you're writing 0.23, it's a floating point number itself. Now that number in the memory, inside Python's memory, is getting stored as 0.2300000123 to maintain the precision of that number itself. So that if it is getting divided, you are able to get more number of decimal points. If it is getting multiplied by something, it is able to maintain the number of decimal points as well. So it is getting saved. It is getting saved a bit greater than 0.23, very minutely greater than 0.23. Okay, for example, if I'm adding 0.23 30 times, right over here I'm adding 0.23 30 times. Okay, there's nothing to repeat. Okay, there's nothing to repeat. Like I said, 0.23 is a floating point number. In the memory, it will not store it as exactly 0.23. It will store it as a little bit greater than 0.23. It will be 0.23 0.00000123 to maintain the precision of this decimal point. So if it is getting divided by something, if it is getting multiplied by something, so it is able to provide a little bit more. Okay, it will provide it a little bit more time to maintain the precision, a bit more decimal points as well. Okay, so for example, right over here I'm adding 0.23 30 times. You can easily able to say this is 0.23 30 times. Okay, so it should be equivalent to 6.9. Am I right? It should be equivalent to 6.9. Please let me know. It should be equivalent to 6.9, guys. Let me know this. According to us, yes, 0.23 30 times is 6.9. So it should be equal to 6.9. But in Python, when I'm adding 0.23 30 times and trying to check, okay, so this is basically the operator that checks the equality on the left hand side and the right hand side. If the left hand side is equal to the right hand side, then the answer would be true. If the left hand side is not equal to the right hand side, the answer would be false. So when I'm running this particular line of code, you're able to see the answer is false. The left hand side is not equal to the right hand side. Why is that the case? Because 0.23 is getting saved inside the memory as 0.23 something like that. Now when you're adding 0.23 30 times, the trailing decimal spaces, the trailing numbers at the very end that was present, that was very minute, are also getting added up to each other. They're also getting added up to each other. And that minute decimal is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, enough that now Python is not able to ignore it. At some point of time, the addition of those decimal points at the very end is getting so big that the Python is not able to ignore it. And that is the reason why the left hand side is not equal to the right hand side. If you had like a few numbers itself, for example, 0.23 plus 0.23, that is equal to 0.46, this will be true. This will come as to be true. Why is that the case? Because even though you are adding 0.23 two times, the trailing decimals is so small that the Python ignores it. The trailing decimals is so small that Python ignores it. So hence, yes, 0.23 plus 0.23 is equals to 0.46. But as we are increasing the value, as we are increasing the number of times 0.23 is being added to itself, okay, that value, that trailing decimal places is getting added to each other again and again and again up till an extent where Python is not able to ignore it. Where Python is not able to ignore it. Okay, and hence the left hand side is not equal to the right hand side. Like I said, this is something that you won't find in any course. This is only something that you will be able to find diving deep into Python, or you're reading books, direct books on Python. Okay, that is the reason why this is, when you go into big interviews, they will ask you this question and nobody is able to answer this question properly. Okay, that is the reason why I'm telling you guys right now. So just try to remember, for right now itself, just try to remember you are beginners, so you don't need to go in a lot of depth behind this. Okay, you don't need to go into a lot of depth behind this. This is more than sufficient for you to remember. Okay, floats, you just need to remember one sentence. Floats are an approximation to the number they represent. If you're doing, okay, one more question. A great question by S Pro Dreams. Okay, I was going to tell you guys that much. Okay, so we are writing 0.23 into 30 times. Okay, what is multiplication? What is multiplication? Multiplication is nothing else but addition 30 times. But you know, now when you are multiplying something, you actually know that you need to add 0.23 to itself 30 times. Okay, when you are having a multiplication, you know that 0.23 is going to be added to itself 30 times. Am I right? So Python does an optimization right over here. It actually knows that you have to add 0.23 30 times. So it already ignores the decimal point from the start itself. So it will do 0.23 into 30 and then 0.0000123. So this will be true. This will be true because Python ignores the decimal point from the start itself. From the start itself. Okay. Similarly, if you are, but when you are writing addition, Python does not know that all of these are the same number. Python will look at these two numbers. It will be like, okay, so 0.23 plus 0.23, they're the same number. So we'll do an approximation. It will be 0.46. Okay, 0.0000123. But it does not know that again you are adding the same number. Now Python is adding 0.46 to 0.23. So it is not able to do that optimization. It is not able to do that optimization. See, this is not something that you need to understand. The only thing, this is just for one question that was there. What you need to understand is floats are an approximation to the number they represent. Okay, floats are an approximation to the number they represent. That is the only thing that you need to understand. Are you guys able to understand this? Please let me know. Are you guys able to understand this? Please let me know, guys. As you're able to see, this is the answer that you are able to get. 6.9000006. Okay, that is the reason why you are getting it a bit greater than 6.9 itself. Okay, just remember one thing. Okay, just remember one thing. Floats are an approximation to the number they represent. Okay, great, amazing, guys, amazing. Next thing is, the next data type that we need to understand is the Boolean data type. Okay, the Boolean data type, again, most of you have already studied in your 10th and 11th standard. It is what you have studied in physics, the zeros and ones. Okay, the AND gate, the OR gate, the NOR gate, the XOR gate, all those gates that you have studied in 11th and 12th in your physics, that is basically your Boolean data type. That is 1 and 0. In Boolean, you are only having 1 or 0. That is true or false. There is nothing else. In numbers, you are in integers, you are having 1, 2, 3, 4. In your floats, you are having 1.5, 6.5, 1.42, all these kind of numbers. In Boolean data type, you either have true or false. Okay, so we have already studied about this, guys. Okay, so bool is another data type that is commonly used in Python. Bool is short form for the Boolean data type. Okay, how many people are able to understand up till here? Please let me know. Do you guys want to continue today, or do you guys want to continue from tomorrow? Please let me know, guys. See, multiplication, just think about it as you know that you want to add it 30 times the same number. You know, so you are able to provide an optimization on that. Okay. In addition, you don't know that. You don't know which two numbers you're adding up. You're not able to have any type of optimization. You just add both the numbers together. Okay, no issues. I'll just show the attendance right now. We will start from tomorrow itself. No issues in that. I'm able to understand. But from tomorrow, guys, don't do this. If you're coming into the boot camp, make sure that you're ready to study for 1.5 hours. For today, I'm leaving you guys, okay? But from tomorrow, please make sure that you are able to study for at least 1.5 hours, okay? Okay, before showing you the attendance, guys, please do like the video, okay? There are 1,50,000 people right now with, sorry, 1,500 people live with us, okay? When you're liking the video, it helps us to reach out to more number of companies so that we are able to show them that our entire community is growing at the end of the day. And these companies are then able to provide you guys with certificates. So basically it benefits you at the end of the day itself. So let's take up a aim. Let's keep the number of likes to 1,500. Once we are getting 1,500 likes, then I will show you the attendance link. Okay. Up till that point of time, let's continue with the class. Once we have reached 1,500 likes, then I will show you the attendance link. Up till that point of time, let's continue with the class itself. Okay. Okay, so bool is another data type that is commonly used in Python. Bool is short form for Boolean data type itself. Okay, now Boolean data types that you are able to see, it can only have two values. It can either be either true or false. It cannot be anything else. It can either be true or false. Okay, Boolean algebra, you have already learned about Boolean algebra, that is your and, or gates, nor gates, all those gates that you have studied in Python, that is the Boolean algebra itself. Okay, so let's look at how to create a Boolean value. So again, remember, when you're creating a Boolean value in Python, the T should be capital, the F should be capital right over here. Okay, so you have to do it from right over here itself. So Python is awesome is equals to true, documentation bad is equals to false. The T and the F should be capital. When you are running this particular line of code, this is how you're able to create a Boolean value. Okay, we can use comparison operators to compare two values and produce Boolean results like this. For example, is 3 greater than 1? Want to check, is 3 greater than 1? Yes, of course, 3 is greater than 1. So that will replace this value with true. Okay, that will replace this value with true, and you will get print A, that is, you will get the answer as true. Okay, right over here, I need to convert it back to, yes, 3 is greater than 1. So you are getting true as your answer. Similarly, you can check for greater than equal to, less than equal to, then you're having equal to whether left hand side is equal to right hand side or not equal to. So all these different things you can check from right over here. Okay, so is 3 not equal to 1? Yes, 3 is not equal to 1. So you'll get true as the answer itself. That is called as the comparison operators. Okay, these are the comparison operators right over here. I'm also smart. I'm not dumb. I will continue teaching you guys. I know that the target won't be achieved, so I will just continue teaching. Okay, so so that is called as the comparison operators. Okay, so again, comparison operators, something you have learned in mathematics. Is 3 greater than 1? Yes or no? Okay, so it's easy to understand from right over there as well. You don't have to apply a lot of brain over that. Okay. Okay, so now moving on with the same, then comes your and, or, nor gates. Okay, the Boolean algebra that you talk about. So for example, is rent greater than 1,000? Okay, rent is equals to 1,200, guys. Okay, rent is equals to 1,200. Okay, so if the rent is 1,200, Is rent greater than 1000, guys? Please let me know. Is rent greater than 1200, guys? Please let me know. Is rent greater than 1000, guys? Please let me know. Yes, so that will be replaced by true. Okay. Is rent less than 2000, guys? Is rent less than 2000? Please let me know. Is rent less than 2000, guys? Please let me know. Yes, the rent is also less than 2000. Okay, so you are getting true right over here as well. What is true and true? Okay, what is true and true? You have already learned this in physics. What is true and true? What is one and one? Okay, you have already learned this in physics. What is one and one? Please let me know, guys. True. Again, one and one is true. We have already learned about it. And gate, or gate, nor gate. I don't need to repeat it. You have already learned in physics in 11th and 12th standard. Okay. So this will again be replaced by true. So this is basically called as Boolean algebra, where you are using conditional statements and your gates to basically get an answer. So rent is 1200. Is this affordable? Is this like rent affordable for you or not? So is rent greater than 1000? Is rent less than 2000? And you are checking with and. So yes, it is affordable. So it will give you true as the answer. So this is the basic use of Boolean algebra. Okay, this is the basic use of Boolean algebra. Are you guys able to understand this? Please let me know. Okay, sir, why is the 23.0 is equals to 23 giving true? Mayank, like I said, when it is 23.0, it's basically a very small decimal value. 0.0000123. So Python just ignores it. Python just ignores it. That is the reason why it is getting you the true value itself. Okay. Slowly and steadily we are reaching our goals. I think so we will be able to learn for 15 more minutes. Okay, are you able to understand the concept of Boolean algebra? I think so that should be more than sufficient, because this is something that we already know at the very end of the day. Okay, are you guys able to understand this up till here? Please let me know, guys. Great. Okay, so I will share you the attendance link right now, otherwise you guys will eat me alive. Okay, so the attendance link is down on your screens right now. You can take a screenshot for the attendance link and fill it up. Okay, you can take a screenshot of the attendance link and fill it up. Okay, great. So thank you so much, guys. We'll meet tomorrow again at the same time. I'll try to be on time from tomorrow onwards. You guys also try to be on time from tomorrow onwards, and we'll have an amazing time learning forward. Okay. Okay. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you.